Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here. So let's go ahead and talk about Qingyi's best teams. Now the word best teams is very tricky for a character that is as flexible and versatile as Qingyi because she really can be played in almost any single team that you have, you can imagine, of course logical ones, and she's likely going to be a really good character there. Best in class stun character, so any of you who are interested in this character, you'll be very happy to know that I think she's definitely going to be one of the most meta characters, especially as of version 1.1 in Zenless Zone 0 as well. How she fares in future, we already talked about that on our investment video, you can check it out if you're interested, but in this video, let's help us build some teams. Now, let's not waste any time, we just go straight in with like the first team which everyone probably is excited for, is the police related team, your Zhu Yuan as well as your Seth teams. This is of course going to be a mainstay in a lot of people who pull for Zhu Yuan. They want to like go canon for law and stuff like that. So I want to start off with this first, which is likely going to be a very popular team. Do I think this is going to be her best team? I think it's going to be her most synergetic, but best, she fills in a lot of roles. You will see in due time which one I think is the best. But of course, I have something for every one of you, regardless of what DPS you use. That's how flexible she is. But let's talk first about the one that is most popular and likely people are going to be considering about. So first thing, regardless of whether you have Zhu Yuan or not, if you plan to pull any member of the police team, you have a team comp for her already. So on top here, you have a Zhu Yuan team with Nicole. I think Nicole and Zhu Yuan is going to be likely good at the preferred one, just because Nicole focuses a little bit more on buffing the team, applying a little bit more corruption also to help synergize with a lot of stuff that Zhu Yuan is focused on. So Nicole here, going to be a lot more beneficial for Zhu Yuan, especially of those of you who are just planning like pull the first half, skip the second half. You can consider just running Nicole Zhu Yuan together with Qingyi. Very strong team. In our test videos of early access, you can see on the channel as well, where we do a balance review on her. Just check it out, the balance review one that we have on channel. You can see the team rotations as well over there. Otherwise, Seth, I think, is also a very interesting combo to offer you a bit more defensive position, because Zhu Yuan tends to be a little bit squishy, especially if she's taking on-field time, the enemy is still up and stuff like that. So having a bit of sustained shielding is definitely nice to have, especially when all of them like kind of synergize with each other. The other team going the Seth route without Zhu Yuan is definitely something that's focused more on the second half. If you save all your pulls for some reason, you are super lucky, you are a whale maybe. Going down the second route is also an interesting team that we are likely going to first start to see in the second half of version 1.1. That is going to be a Jane Doe and Qingyi team. I'll touch more about this towards the end of the video because this is more of a Anomaly based team and not everyone has the resources to pull both of them in one patch, so I don't want to dwell on this too much. But if you're just playing with Seth, I think the character that you can focus on will be a character like Anton. Is going to be a very interesting mix because Qingyi is able to proc her additional ability with either attack character or same faction. Doesn't need to be same element even, but Anton does want some electric characters. So bottom here you could see a mono electric team for any of you who are looking to tackle that kind of content. But Jane Doe, let's talk about it later on. So really pairs well with either teammate here. Next up, I want to have it very well-rounded, not just talk about Zhu Yuan or no Zhu Yuan teams. Some of us are playing with the other DPSs in game, S rank, A rank. I want to cover both also. Let's talk about the S rank first. Regardless of whether you have Alan, Nekomata or Soldier 11, in my opinion, they all play very nicely with Qingyi because Qingyi's additional ability procs with any one of these three of them. You don't even need any one of the police faction to proc her passive, you just need an attack DPS. That is crazy versatile. So Soldier 11 helps her, same as Nekomata, Alan, and that makes her team compositions just naturally very fluid, very flexible on its own already. So what I'm focusing on is trying to proc the remaining two characters, both their additional ability, and forming teams around it. So here you have characters, for example, like Lucy, which buffs the team's amount of attack, which secondary DPS like nature. Stun characters tend to be like secondary DPSs, where they offer good amounts of damage and stun at the same time. So good amounts of buffing both of them. So Lucy is very strong with Soldier 11. I think that's likely going to be the way I'll go. You could run a character like Ben, of course, if you feel that you need a little bit more defensive position, shielding that he offers, and crit rate, of course, that he offers when he shields up. If you want to go down that route, I think Ben is also decent. But most people at this stage of the game, from what I've seen in like the view count also on the channel, more people have Lucy built, so don't worry, you can go ahead and play her continuously as well. Ben, of course, is for more defensive situations. Nekomata here, for those of you who have her and are playing Nekomata and planning to continuously play her, you can play her with Qingyi equally as well. Very strong tool. One of the things is, do you want Nekomata to be focused on assault, or do you want her to be focused on just running, for example, as the solo, not really proccing assault that much? Because her kit does revolve around having benefits proccing like assault, so you can do more damage as well. If you're going down the assault way, you can consider running a character like Piper, who's very, very cheap to build. So Piper plus Nekomata into a character like Qingyi. You might not get disorder too much because Qingyi is not Anomaly electric and you're running her solo. So it's a bit tricky to run Anomaly disorder teams. But if you're running a physical team here of Piper as well as Nekomata, I think it's pretty good, especially if you're just focusing on assault. If you don't care about assault, Nicole is also a general good option for Nekomata players. And next up, of course, Ellen. For those of you Ellen players who didn't get lucky pulling Lycan, I think Qingyi is a very solid setup for Ellen as well. You do not get the ice resistance shredding, but you still get a lot of the flexibility that she offers, a lot of the stun that she offers in terms of rotations too. And you can even continuously run a character like Sokaku. Many of us are running Sokaku together with Ellen just for that ice buffing that she provides, the attack buffing that she provides. Otherwise, you can consider Ellen as well, Rina as well, who offers you Pen, which buffs your whole team, some electric, and everyone also gets their passive up too from both of the mid factions, as well as Qingyi being just so flexible. So tons of options you can see. Now, I'm not going to touch on the free-to-play affordable one as much, but I know some of you need it. I have one more team, as you can see here. I did put a C Anomaly DPS section, which is the one that I want to cover a little bit more in depth. The free-to-play affordable team, for any of you who missed out on version 1.0, you didn't get too lucky, maybe you put another stun character or some supports, this is an idea for you to go with Qingyi. She is a very, very strong, flexible support, but when you are running A rankers in general, you want to focus on more offensive supports so that you can bridge their gap. So because they naturally lack the stats that S rank DPSs have, you can consider running your offensive supports who are all, I put here all A ranks, but really if you have like you play Corrin, you can also play like Rina. You play Anton, you can put Rina here. But I just wanted to like make this super affordable so anyone can relate to this too. But doesn't mean if you don't see the characters here, they can't be played. I'm just saying that offensive supports generally pair better because of the DPS loss when you're playing A ranks versus S ranks, which might have like much higher stat already on their own. So this is how I would position it. Now the interesting one here that I want to cover now is Anton. And not only just Anton, but an Anomaly DPS section, which is the final team that I think is the refreshing part about this. The rest of them is like kind of intuitive, but here's some interesting teams that I think will be very, very strong, potentially even the best. I say potentially because this one is a bit edgy depending on how Jane Doe actually comes out and performs. Now we are all subjected to change. This is one team that I'm looking out for, but in future Anomaly DPS teams likely will like Qingyi too. So Qingyi, one of the benefits about her is she is very flexible to play, stun character. Anomaly DPSs also want to have stun characters. The stun is not just a fun thing that attack DPSs make use of. Any DPS, when they are stunned, they take more damage. When they are stunned, you can come in with your chain attacks to build up your perfect assist, dodge stacks and stuff like that. So stun characters are essential in almost any single offensive team, especially if the enemy can be staggered too. So coming a team of Jane Doe in the second half, or perhaps you don't have the resources to form Jane Doe, you can still make use of this with a cheapish character A rank like Piper. They are both physical Anomaly characters here, and you can run a physical Anomaly, so plus an electric stun, and I highly recommend you consider going in your last slot electric based character so that you can proc your disorder ability. If you have like a double physical here, Qingyi is not going to offer you that electric application that you want for your shock. So having a double here, if those of you who are like super lucky, you have Grace, then great. You can play Grace, you can play Qingyi, and you can play, for example, Jane Doe or Piper. You might not be able to proc Qingyi's passive because she needs an attack DPS or same faction, but that's still quite fine since she's just here for a lot of stun application that she provides. So Grace, of course, is fantastic, but you can easily play with any of the other characters here that you can see. A rankers like Anton, which helps her proc her passive as well. So Qingyi on the top row here procs every single passive. So you get both, for example, Seth, you get Anton's passive very easily. You can easily proc Grace with Jane Doe, for example, or in if you are prioritizing maybe a bit more on Jane Doe. Rina here is of course offering you very offensive kit with a bit of electric application. So tons of options available, and these teams will just keep expanding and expanding and keep moving on as the game progresses. If we get other elemental anomaly characters, they're going to fit in here very nicely. Maybe one day we have a fire anomaly. I would see it going well in the pivot slot. Some of you are wondering, can you actually play both Piper as well as Jane Doe like this in a double physical together with Qingyi? We'll touch on that on the Jane Doe video specifically, but for now, in this early stage, I'll recommend you actually considering a double electric and physical anomaly just for ability to proc disorder better, because Qingyi doesn't offer too much shock application. And if you found this video helpful, do consider checking out these 2 other videos, which I think you might be interested in for 1.1 as well. If you found this video helpful, do like, subscribe, and share it around on social media. I'm sure a lot of people will find it helpful too. Hopefully you can reach out to more people. And again, thank you so much for your attention, and see you in the next video.